The very same Gary Jones that earlier this year said to union membership,
I am deeply saddened and irritated that some members of this union and some leaders in the auto companies exploited their positions to benefit themselves. It frustrates me, and I know it frustrates you.
My sympathies are definitely towards the worker. It's unfortunate that this strike couldn't have came up at a better time. Analysts would have suggested or probably definitely predicted that this eventually would happen with regards to the downturn in the automotive industry, and I just hope that it wasn't a calculated move to place a possible strike right when GM could benefit the most, because not making so many cards in the time period where the downturn would happen. And they're analysts. The analysts deal with numbers, and they can project when less cars would be sold. So I really hope things aren't so questionable as that, given the fact that there's a lot of stuff going on right now with FBI raids just last month with former UAW leaders in different parts of the country. But myself was a temporary employee of T.E.A.M Systems, which is a supplier to one of the big automotive companies that was represented by UAW. And I can tell you it is disheartening to see there the individuals that are getting placed into a company and knowing that, there's only so many places in a company, and once the startup is done, the extra people that's needed, they don't really need to have them as permanent employees. And so, I can understand conflict that's going on there with those that are picketing and then those that are maybe still working or just really having a hard time trying to figure out where they are, since they don't feel like they're exactly part of the picture. And it works out pretty good for the company because you have divisions there. You have a working group that doesn't feel like they're part of the real UAW, which should be a permanent thing. As soon as you walk into the plant, you should be considered, with regards to pay and everything else, you should be considered a UAW member. Although maybe temporary with regards to 6 months, the whole negotiation thing's going on. I couldn't really give any specifics on what I would think the best thing is. I personally never worked at GM to know that. I could say within 3 months there should be a definite more permanent status and pay for any temporary employee, because when you're working there at 6 months and then 8 months and then for GM employees a year to 2 years and you're still not sure when you're going to get hired in, that can change the aspect of family life. And there's, I'm sure, plenty of people that have worked there that don't exactly have my belief systems, and without those belief systems, really the only thing they can fall back on is financial stability. And that stability is not there, of course, then there isn't a lot of stability in their lives. So this can obviously rock the country when you have that many employees that expect a paycheck, and the trickle-down effect is always huge. So I definitely support the GM workers. I support their increase in pay, the base pay. Maybe something else needs to change about the difference between the base pay and overtime hour pay. Maybe that's something they should talk about. It's something I thought about, if they're not willing to raise the base pay, maybe the overtime pay. But a lot of issues coming up. Their fight is more important to me than finding a politician that's going to support more health care benefits for us. Because if we have better paying jobs, we're going to pay for our own health care. And if GM unions win this fight, the other companies and other industries, they're going to think, well, you know what? Why aren't we getting paid more? And there's plenty of other big industries out there that are making a lot of money, and it's not always trickling down. So that's my opinion on that. I do support GM's workers. I would like to possibly even interview some people and see where that is at, what their opinion is about these types of things, and what's the big sticking point for them during this whole strike procedure. How is it they would like to see the whole thing go forward?